nice big yawn or a nice series of yawns is really helpful for stimulating our vagus nerve and for strengthening our parasympathetic nervous system. So that's an exercise for you right there. Just try yawning. And a fake yawn will do just as well as a real yawn. So that wasn't a real yawn, but I was getting those yawns started. I could feel it wanting to come through. So when we make that sound, we are lifting the soft palate in the back of our mouth. And that's what happens when we yawn too. So try doing a fake yawn. You feel the back, that soft palate, top of your mouth kind of opening up, and make that sound, you can kind of feel that same motion happening back there. That motion is what's going to stimulate our vagus nerve and start these exercises really working and strengthening for us. I found it really interesting when I was learning all about my parasympathetic nervous system and the different exercises and just, different, how it works and how our body works with our nervous system. And when I learned about this yawning practice, I thought, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Because for me, throughout my life, even as a young child, I can remember in important times I would yawn and almost have fits of yawning. I don't think fits is the right word, but I would do a series of yawning over and over and over. And I would find that it would help calm my body, but I never really understood why it was happening. So this would happen to me maybe before tests in school. As an adult, it would happen for me before job interviews. So when I would get to my location, and I would pull in and I'd think, okay, I've got a few minutes, let's just sit and prepare, look at my resume. And throughout that time, I would really just start yawning and yawning and yawning and start stretching and be like, okay. And I never understood. It's like, am I wanting to just go to sleep and avoid this stressful situation? I used to kind of wonder that. But it turns out, no, it's just my body naturally calming itself. You see this happen a lot with dogs as well, or any kind of pack animal. And have you ever noticed how yawning is contagious? When I was yawning, you may have felt that desire to yawn yourself, and that is super, super normal. That is part of our nervous system actually kicking in and keeping us calm and helping keep the other members of our pack calm. We see this in dogs often.
And yes, of course, they also yawn when they're tired, just like we do. But next time you see any kind of an animal yawning, take a look. Is it that they're tired, or is it that they're trying to calm themselves, or perhaps calm those around them?
Yawning is a herd behavior, and these continuous yawns help to calm the pack, help to calm individuals within the pack from just going wild with excitement. So rather than wigging out and losing control of the pack and just becoming like, wah, out of balance, these yawns back and forth are a communication to one another to ease your system. It's okay. Don't freak out. Calm down. Slow down. Everything's gonna be okay. Just chillax. That's what those yawns are all about. You may have experienced this yourself. And if you haven't, I would say try to stimulate a yawning session for yourself and see how that eases your nervous system. And perhaps think about doing a yawning session the next time you are feeling a little bit nervous or anxious. See what that does for you. Another herd behavior, and another area where we can really kind of learn from our canine buddies, is shaking shaking it off. Learning to be like a wolf. That's what I always think about. I think, if you have two wolves that get into a little bit of an altercation and they have an exchange, there's some anxiety and some anger or something's happening. Something happens there, right? Some tension. And then they have their exchange and they step away from each other. Usually what you see right away is they start shaking. It's like, you probably see your pets do this too. And they just shake. And then they might yawn even, actually. That you see that a lot too. And then they settle their system and then they walk along. And that shaking is literally shaking off the energy, the negativity, the tension, the energy that is not serving you well. They literally shake it off. So learning to shake like a wolf and shake it off on a daily basis is really, really helpful, because when we shake, it's like cleansing ourselves. It's just, get rid of it, and then you can move on with a clean slate. All right, so yawning and shaking it off. Those are a couple things that you could easily add to your daily practice and just to your general awareness. And now, if you didn't know about why these things happen, now you do, and it makes a lot of sense. And speaking of making sense, our canvas, our piece, should really be kind of starting to make some sense to us at this stage. And I know that your canvas might look similar to mine. Your canvas might look so completely different than mine. And that's the beauty. Whatever your canvas looks like, it's your canvas. But at this stage, it should probably start making a little bit of sense. Visually, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I see. Those are some nice leaves and some nice whimsical flowers. I get it. Rather than if we think back to those brain lobes that we had, right? Those nice pink blobs. And that was really pretty too. But it didn't make so much sense to our eye. This is making more sense. And within our nervous system, when things make sense, that brings us balance. So as you move forward in your days and you see your piece and people compliment and say, oh gosh, I love that painting, you can remember that it's all about you and your nervous system. So let the clarity of your piece be a constant reminder to you to keep things clear within your nervous system and to continually exercise and be aware of what's happening, because that just makes us stronger. We have another little visitor coming up to the canvas today. That's little dude back there. He's a bunny. And talk about nervous systems. Bunnies have a nervous system that is really, 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 really tuned into safety. So the bunnies know, they can sense when a hawk or a predator is coming a few seconds before it even flies over. And that's part of them being really, really in tune. So think about if you were a bunny, you'd have to keep that part of your brain going, that sympathetic nervous system that's always like, okay, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? That always has to be super, super fine-tuned. But then you see little dude here's really happy. So he's got that other part of him that's like, okay, I'm a happy bunny. I'm going to check stuff out. I'm going to knock things over because this is my yard. And I love shenanigans. So he's really doing a great job at having fun and roaming free and being curious and feeding that other side of himself, where he can just be a little bit more like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to just do my thing. So remember to be like a bunny. Be like little dude. Keep your sympathetic running nice and tight, but not too tight. And just have fun and enjoy. Feed your soul. And this
is Inky. Inky is working on her parasympathetic nervous system at the moment. She literally is, because she's under this bush, somewhat covered. So she is sheltered from predators, so she can kind of let go of her sympathetic, fight, flight, or freeze. She can get a little bit more comfortable here. And then she can just have her happy bunny moments. Play with her buddy, relax, easing into her parasympathetic. Again, try to be like these guys. They got it going on. Now if a predator came into the scene here, if maybe an owl flew over or a coyote walked into the yard, these guys would change from this calm parasympathetic state to their sympathetic state in faster than a split second. They would run, they would be ready to kick and fight. They will go hide and find shelter faster than you can blink. But for now, it's bunny chill time.
They're so cute. I just love them so much. We can learn so much about ourselves from watching animals, learning from nature, because that's how we're programmed too. But sometimes we forget about that basic wiring, that basic programming, and that basic system that's there to keep us balanced. So we want to keep that nice and strong. So keep an eye on all different kinds of animals. See how they relax, see how they stress, and everything in between, and how do they react, and what do their bodies do. There's a reason for that. All right, so that was a nice little bunny distraction. Let's take a look at our painting here. We just have one last layer to put down. If you choose, remember you're the artist. You get to do whatever you'd like. But we can see here that we've got some nice definition that has really come up just by adding the blacks and the whites, by using that the sunbeams that were kind of stationed in that one area. So we've got the lights and the darks all kind of synced up here. And by just adding that little bit of black and white, we get that nice definition. So at this stage, we can bring in just some fine details. This is a time where you can kind of go in and look at, I know there's a leaf in here someplace that doesn't really have green on it yet, and I don't see it. So maybe I should just leave it, who knows? But I know there's something in here that needed a little bit of touching up. I'll find it. And I'm also thinking I might want to put some little dots or just some fine details. Nothing too much because this already has a lot going on, but just a few like odds and ends that kind of give your eye a little bit of surprise. Or like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's all like putting a cherry on the top of an ice cream sundae. It's just a nice little topper. That's kind of what this layer is all about. Or like if you were a chef in a fancy kitchen and you put the whole meal together and now it's time to plate and present. So, you get to kind of put everything on the plate and put your sauce on there all fancy, and then any little drips or things, if you take your nice towel and you wipe the plate clean so it's all nice and perfect, and then you can present it. We're kind of at that wiping the plate clean for presentation's sake. We're at that stage now. So it'll be quick, but enjoy it because you have created a masterpiece. Let's go add a little bit more detail and then we'll be finished.